Hi everyone. My name is Christian. I'm working for Mastercard in our European fintech and crypto enablement teams, and I'm very happy to be here today with four distinguished speakers. And we want to discuss a bit, how the whole Web3 distributed ledger technology, crypto industry basically coexists, converges, or cooperates with what we call traditional finance. But I believe all of you are pretty known here locally, but still I think it would be beneficial that you introduce yourself. So I'm just going to start on my very left-hand side.
Hi, how are you? My name is Uriol. I'm Uriol Sabat. I don't know if it's okay, everything. I'm from Krypton. I'm the Chief Community Officer. I'm in charge of the community communications and also the strategic view of the company. And we are working here in Spain and recently in Latam.
Hi everyone, my name is Edwin Mata. I am the CEO and co-founder of Bricken. We are a tokenization platform with specialties transforming equity into tokens. So we are bringing companies on chain. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be better. Oh wow, yeah. Look at that. Hello everyone, my name is Edwin Mata. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bricken. We are a tokenization platform which we transform equity into tokens.
I think this works, right? Buenos dias. Hi everybody. I'm Ko Onizawa. I'm the managing director at Bit2Me. We're an exchange wallet launchpad here based in Spain. And we have also a crypto academy in Latin America where we have over 4 million alumni. So we're all about education and adoption of cryptocurrency. We've been around since 2015, in part building education and adoption tools, and now also pushing Web3 building and investment with our new Web3 hub in Barcelona.
Hi, nice to meet you, everybody. I'm Paul. I'm the CEO of RAN. In RAN, we reimagine how you can interact with money. So basically, we use Web3 technology and AI, and we empower people to be able to spend and earn more than ever before.
Okay. Thank you very much. So going over to you, Cole, since you have an academy, and so I guess that's all about educating people, sort of creating proximity and knowledge. How do you see that crypto sort of fits into the overall financial landscape of a consumer? In my perception, in many aspects, still it feels like an alternative asset class more than anything else. What's your view?
That's a good question, because I think in the early days of crypto we see it as an asset class, whereas right now crypto's evolved into more than just an asset class. It started with Bitcoin, right? It's evolved to the actual what we call Web3. Right, yeah. The infrastructure of the new internet, and so that can be within, in-game ecosystems or economy, or payment systems through smart contracts, or even tokenization of classes. So crypto, in a sense, is not just an asset class anymore, or should not be perceived as such. We should look at the broader kind of technological aspect to it and see how we can adopt that into real-world benefits and add value.
Do you see also examples here that the technology actually permeates into sort of the mainstream? Is that visible? Is that tangible?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a Mastercard setting now, so peer-to-peer money transfers is obviously more efficient with blockchain, with crypto, right? Gaming is huge right now, so when people play and incorporate a Web3 layer, then you have in-game economy, so you can actually earn while playing. And then you can then off-ramp that into paying expenses. That's evident now in the emerging markets like the Philippines and Venezuela, where they're literally putting food on the table through the power of Web3 and crypto. And we play a huge role as the on-ramp, off-ramp, right? A regulated entity that we are as an exchange to on-ramp and off-ramp. And so when we partner with companies like Paul's, for example, he's doing really great stuff too, where real-world application happens in such a smooth manner. Yeah. But under the hood, it's all DeFi and Web3, okay. So it's really cool.
So, question also to Krypton: do you also see that crypto goes more mainstream? That a sort of crypto bank will be just another bank?
Yeah, we think that crypto is a better form of money. We think that is the future and also the present. So basically, we need just use cases for crypto, and we interact with money. We don't know how the central banks work. We don't know what's the policy on the euro or on the dollar, but we use this money to reach our goals, to do our life, our day-to-day. Basically, we think that with crypto, that will be the same case. We won't know how the blockchain works. We don't want to know how anything is built, but we want to just experience this new form of money with a UX that is easy for everyone, with an onboarding of the mainstream, also with the regulators. We think that when the regulation comes in, everybody will feel more transparent on the crypto world, and we think that the use cases will just grow and grow.
Okay. I think regulation was mentioned, I think, multiple times already. What's your view on, and I know it's hard and quite likely also more difficult so on stage, but how do you see that regulation sort of will evolve? Will it be a facilitator in going mainstream within the industry?
Yeah, I'm going to take that because my background comes as a lawyer. And I think the regulation is already there. The problem is the risk taking. So when we hear the word crypto, it's like, oh, we need a new whole regulation. And many times that is wrong because the Web 2 so-called regulation, it's already existed. And it can already be embedded into Web 3. So sometimes what we need is the regulatory organisms to issue an opinion and come and say like, okay, when you have this use case or this scenario, this article is applied to you, and this case law applies to you. And we need guidance, and that's what we need. I mean, instead of confronting us between the regulator and the crypto company, we should breach there and then just exchange the know-how. And for example, here in Spain, we have a very good example, which is the regulatory sandbox, which is regulated by the Security Commissioner, the managing funds, and the Bank of Spain. And they're inviting blockchain companies because they need to understand how the regulation is applied and what is needed to perfectionize. But the main core, it's already there. The law, it's already existent.
I want to say also that yesterday for us was a very important day. We got the registration of El Banco de España, which Bit2Me, they were the first company in Spain to have it. We also have it. And I think that the regulations, they know that there's something that is here to stay, so they have to just innovate also in this regulation process to onboard also all the companies that they are creating, technology, people working on there, so it's an important thing too.
Okay. Going to Rent Network, I think you have quite an interesting model, right? Because I think you're moving into a DAO organization, that's the plan, right? Where you also actively let your customers, users sort of participate and then go in this direction. So what's your thinking in this direction? What's your take?
On the DAO side?
Yeah, and regulation and all this, because I think it's new concept, right?
Yeah, so we're basically seeing new ways of business structure that never seen before. This new, different kind of structures, DAOs can really change. Like we see way different structures between different kind of DAOs. We're seeing now traditional finance coming in too. We're seeing more and more institutional partners that they basically were coming from the more traditional side, funds, hedge funds, coming to join part on the DAO side and be able to have an arm of investment directly from basically a business structure that is completely decentralized and that works way different than what we see a normal LLC or normal business structure that you will find. So it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages. My take after seeing many different DAO structure, I really believe DAOs are very useful for some things and they are not useful for others. So what we've seen in centralized projects is that they are way faster when they develop product. Because they basically can manage faster than any other DAO. DAO normally requires more people, and the consensus on taking decisions, if you have to change this or you have to change that, normally takes longer than if you are a centralized company. So that's what I'm saying, that it has its advantages and disadvantages, but we are seeing new models also in the governance side, but also on the investing side between DAOs and traditional finance.
And for me personally, that DAO element quite likely something that is, let's say culturally most remote from the classical financial industry. Do any of you also sort of look into this? Do you see yourself going in this direction?
Yes, of course. I mean, the DAO movement, we have to acknowledge that it's not just a technological one, but it's a cultural one. It's a psychological one. It's kind of like, I don't want to belong to a company, but I want to belong to a community, be part of something more. But what they forget the DAOs is that they still need a structure to operate. So it's a big pain. While the movement is true and legit and let's say honest, they need a whole operation in the back that allows them to operate on a day-to-day base. So that's a big pain for the DAOs. So what some are doing are creating kind of like grabs. What they do is they grab the DAO inside an already issued common company. So an LLC, an association, a corporation, because that's the only way that the DAO can really operate. Because one simple pain that I can say is you have an employee. How the DAO is going to pay the employee if they cannot even go and pay the taxes? How are they going to pay an invoice when they don't have a bad number? So all of those pains need to be reflected by the product and by the protocol, but sometimes human power interaction is needed for the DAO to be able to operate.
Okay.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think that it's basically give the customer or the client the power to decide.
Yeah.
As he was saying, I think that the tribe movement, the community movement is super important in Web3, also DAOs and all these movements. I think we need to just embrace and give the people the power to decide and to move on with this technology. So yeah, we believe that we need an integration on also, as you were saying, the financial model. We believe that we have to help the customer. We need to center the customer, but also help other exchanges, other banks, also give technology to the banks to embrace this new movement. So to me, it's just a matter of working together, not just separately, just bringing the new technology and the new movement to the old school financial model. Why not?
And speaking about traditional banks, how do you see these things converging? What's your perspective on what corporation does work? What corporation you say it's not promising for you at this point? What's your strategy there?
I think there's two big things here. One is technology, and the other thing is communication. So we need to give the technology to the banks or to the whole financial system, and also communicate in a transparent way so they know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So basically, we need to work with mathematics, physics, engineers, but also marketing, journalists, and people that can just explain what we're doing. Because we are seeing on the media and a lot of places that the crypto world, the crypto space, there's good projects, legit projects, and not that good projects. So we need to work on technology and communication.
I really think there has to be that intersection, you know? It can't, a lot of people think of DAOs as like an isolated entity out there in a subreddit. But then we need all parts, right? You need exchanges, you need the legal side, you need consumer apps. And a DAO structure fits into that. And you have to understand also that the DAO structure is constantly evolving. And to understand that, you have to understand what incentivizes them, right? So that clear incentive, for example, is stakeholder value over shareholder value. Yeah. So instead of a boardroom with shareholders getting money, you have the entire stakeholders having skin in the game. And what does that mean in terms of governance? Do you have more votes to people with more tokens, or do you have equal opportunity for all stakeholders? So that's something I think the DAO and the cultures are still working on. But in parallel, you need to have, you know, other players like us who can connect to that and bring it to the real world.
Okay. And when you say DAO is evolving, I don't want to, assume that everybody has that proximity to that topic. Where do you see where this is evolving? How do you think it will evolve if it goes more in the mainstream?
I think the idea is that we won't even realize that there's a DAO structure behind it. That would be the best one, right? Kind of like when we pay with our phones now. We don't actually realize what's happening in the back end. We're just touching something and we see it. That would be great. And then when there's consensus, when we wanted to make decisions, we bring in the community to see what they think, and then we consider whether that's, has weight on actual governance, or is that just a way for us to incentivize people to listen to what they think, and we can then act on it. And that in itself, when you can involve the community and incentivize them to be involved, then you can create much better products and services.
I'm just going to add something to that. User experience by all means, but also I think the DAO movement will become accepted the moment people start saying they don't belong to a DAO. It's kind of like a day-to-day. Because now as a company, you can buy stock and then say, I don't belong to Apple. I don't feel part of Apple. So it's just kind of like, it just got embedded into the day-to-day base. And the DAO is just accepted by everyone, and everybody has, or not, access to these kind of new vehicles that are forming.
Yeah, I think that, sorry, this is a very important thing, because maybe 90% of the people doesn't know what a DAO is, but we need to, our industry need to bring this to the mainstream. So it's not just speaking into us, so it's just bringing all the mainstream with us, with the UX, super important, with just clicking your button and entering this world, not putting walls, but just opening doors to the people to onboard the technology.
Yeah, so also adding into there, I think we can, all of us, bring the conversation one step further. And the thing is that during the last years, we've seen how traditional finance can interact with crypto, or how crypto can interact with traditional finance to bring the same products that we're having, but better and with a stake to everybody with what we're seeing with DAOs, right? But I think we can go one step further, and we haven't seen this yet, but I really believe we will see this in the next 5 to 10 years, in a way that we can bring new tools and new way of people to interact with money. So new ways that we haven't seen before, tools that from trading side, from saving side, for investing side, we're seeing more ways that you can, for example, directly from your own participate in peer-to-peer markets to be able to borrow, lend money. This is just a simple case, but how we can interact directly from our own to this kind of market, so we can utilize our money better. We can start producing interest, we can start utilizing our money on a daily basis for then utilize all the earnings, for example, to pay the stuff that we want, right? Daily stuff that we want, such as paying Netflix, paying Spotify, paying the lines that we all are gonna have today, right? So being able to use different kind of markets and new tools to maximize what we can do with our money.
And maybe looking at you, Edwin, because I think for you it's all about, every asset can basically sort of fractionalize, tokenize. Do you see that you can open access to financial services where previously, there were entry-level barriers? Do you see that in your customer base? Do you see that in feedback?
Yeah, my answer is going to be super simple, right? I think the whole world is going to be tokenized, and every single asset is going to be tokenized. And then people look at me and say, like, yeah, but you're in crypto. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a piece of advice. The banks are about to tokenize money. Euro is becoming a stable coin, and yuan is becoming a CBDC. That's actually tokenizing. So if the banks are already entering into tokenizing, everybody else is going to jump in. So it's not that every asset is going to be tokenized. The money itself is going to be tokenized. So the whole crypto movement is here to stay. It's impossible to stop something when already central banks are saying, wait, we don't need that stable coin. We need to create our own stable coin, because then we can track and then we can do all of these things, and that's tokenizing. So yes, we're gonna definitely live in a world that is tokenized from A to C. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of how you will interact with crypto world. It's basically, it won't be just on financial aspect, it will be social, it will be on the metaverse, it will be on the NFTs, it will be with the companies, how they interact with their customers. It will be much easier for a mainstream company to just be part of their community, just onboarding them with an NFT program, for example. So we will see also different types of organizations, just also in our day-to-day music, in festivals, in all these aspects. So I think that now we are in the beginning, in the genesis of the movement, which is more technical, more financial, but it will just spread to everything. So for us, it's not a matter of when it will happen. It's a matter of how you will interact with us.
I know in crypto one better speaks in terms of weeks or months, but thinking about what will be the most tangible changes that we see in the next 1 to 2 years along these lines. If you needed to make a bet, what will change?
I think that, I don't know, I think technologically it will be more efficient, more more easy. And basically, what I think that we'll have 2, 3, 4. We don't have a crystal ball, of course, but I think that we will put a lot of effort on making things simple to make everyone in. So the effort will be just focused on bring everybody to the party in an easy way. I think that's the process we will just be, and these guys, we are just working on this direction.
Cole, you wanted to say something?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this is the next 2 years, you said, maybe, or next few years. This is the greatest migration of wealth we've ever seen in a distributed manner. It's not to say that the big corporations won't have any money. I think there's always going to be room for VCs, room for corporate. But going back to what we were talking about, stakeholder value. So if I invite everybody in this room to participate in the world of Web3, you will then realize that this stakeholder value has financial incentives, right? So as a person or as an employee of a company, thanks to crypto technology or Web3, what we call it now, you own part of it. You literally own part of it. And nobody can take that away from you because it's decentralized by nature, right? So if any decentralized business performs, then you get a kickback to that. And that's beautiful. And at scale, that's going to change the world, literally, because it levels out the playing field for all countries and geographies on how to be involved and create new things and earn money on the way.
I would like to do an experiment. So, how many people here have a Ethereum wallet? Wow, I thought it was going to be way less. So, in 2 years, everybody should have one.
No.
They can come to Bit2Me or Cryptan.
Yeah, I would say, how many has a Bit2Me wallet?
Paying that.
No, but it's so half the people here have a non-custodial wallet, right? Yeah. And so that means they know the pain of interacting with the decentralized world, right? And that's something that we all have to fix. Not just us. I mean, everybody and all the builders right now can fix that experience where you can use us centralized entities to onboard your euros or dollars into crypto, but then after that, it becomes kind of like not a very pleasant experience. So, and you guys know this, or half of you know this. And so I think we need to work on that and make it much, much easier to interact with this new technology, because it's not going anywhere.
I think that also it's super important in the industry to bring on companies, institutionals, and make this effort to onboard all these people that will make the space grow bigger and bigger. Because we can just focus on the retail, and of course, it's something super important. But I think that when you've got certain companies that they embrace the technology, it's like a blue check that everybody says, okay, Mastercard is with us. It's like a blue check because it's a worldwide company. So I think that onboarding all these players, it will make things faster and safer for everyone.
All your perspective? Or?
Yeah, so I really believe that we're going to be onboarding more and more institutions, as you said. I think we really have to, all of us, jump into work in a collaborative way, because, for example, just going to very basic things that we solve with using blockchain, which could be payments, right? How many of you had the pain that you have to do a transfer with your bank account to whatever country, and it takes 5 days, you don't really know if the guy is going to receive the transfer, and it costs you $40. So we're seeing now and we're basically using Swift out of that. Swift is the old dinosaur of the financial industry that everybody is using, and I hope really in that you said in this 2 years we're going to switch from Swift to having a decentralized database between banks and between centralized institutions, so they don't have to basically check their ledgers one to each other, which is totally inefficient, and we can proceed payments faster, peer-to-peer, and with 10 times less cost than what we have right now, right?
That's why regulation is so important. So you can have this data sharing between the decentralized, centralized world and just interact.
I also think that we can just we have the opportunity now to just bring just a new technology to the people, but on their day-to-day basis. So I think that in the future we will be connected as our bank now, we will be connected to our experiences. So maybe you love gaming, so your wallet or your crypto bank or your crypto exchange will be connected to your play or your e-games that you're playing, or to your experiences on a festival, or to your airline company. So you will be on a staking program, and instead of having the rewards weekly, maybe you put your money on your staking program, and you know that in 6 months you will have a free ticket to Ibiza with your family. So as Paul was saying, I think that these little things, paying your Netflix, paying your Spotify, paying your trip with your family, will be super important in the next years to bring people in.
You were saying, or I don't know who it was, I think you were saying, things are, in the old word, are still cumbersome, but if I look at, if I want to buy an NFT on Ethereum, I have to go through all the journey with the, MetaMask wallet. What would be your response? Is this basically, toothing aches, this going to go away, or?
What's going to go away?
I would say it's not, some things are still counterintuitive, I would say, and prevent the average user or the other 50% in the room from buying their first NFT. And Mastercard is doing, our modest efforts to facilitate that. But how do you see that evolving?
Who's interested in NFTs here? Who actually has one? Oh, so you went through all the trouble to get one. I think what we need to do a better job in designing products and services that make things a lot easier, number one, and then also backing it up with educational content to tell you why you should have it, right? So speculation is kind of an annoying thing that we have in the industry, which is why the crypto industry kind of goes through these ups and downs, because you have people, maybe like a lot of us here, who think Web3 is coming to stay, it's here to stay, and we believe in the long term, we believe in the technology. So we're here building things. Then you have these short-term people who just want to buy and sell, or dump, sorry. And that doesn't make things great. And so it's happening right now with NFTs, where people are going into NFTs, much of it for speculation. And then there's a bunch of NFTs, less in proportion, that actually have utility, have actually, mean something culturally, financially, and gives real world benefits. And I think that's the one where those are the types of NFTs that we should be looking into, and how we can design new products or new interfaces to make that experience better. Because if everybody here bought an NFT just because it's cool, or because they can flip it the next day, then that's, we're not doing our job very well. So I think we're doing our job. An indicator of us doing our job very well is where we can see what incentivizes people to get an NFT and design products to make that actually useful and easy.
Yeah. So you want to go? Yeah. So I think here, and I think touching another point Uriel said very well. We really have a work, all of us, to really spread communication in the proper way. I think we're in a very early inception of NFTs. NFTs it's not a thing. It's not a Bored Ape. It's not a CryptoPunk. It's just those are just examples. But NFT is actually a process. When you NFT something, you're basically just giving a reference number to a digital asset. And it's not about pictures. It's not about art. It's about how you can reference something to someone. And we can bring this to a lot more things. And that's one of the things that all of us think here, that NFT's revolution is going to be way more than what most of the people think right now. When you, for example, the easy example of this is, I want to go to a concert, and I purchase some tickets, right? And suddenly I cannot go to that concert, so I'm going to send the tickets to Co. But actually, I'm not sending the tickets. I'm sending a copy of the tickets, and Co is receiving a copy of the tickets. And that's the thing what we cannot do with real assets that we just don't want to copy. And it's the same thing we cannot do with money, right? We cannot print money. We cannot copy money and paste it. That's the same thing that we're also seeing with NFTs. that we can basically use NFTs to really share value or share things that are just digital.
I think the NFT movement, I mean, we're in the right stages at the beginning, and now it's evolving into something more, kind of like governance, community, and all of that. So if we focus how the utility token evolved into a payment token, into a security token, it took a lot of years of studying, analyzing, and all of this. With the NFT movement, in a matter of years, 2 years, they started embedding everything from the utility token, and now the NFTs have utilities, have access, and all of that. I mean, the evolution of the NFT, it's amazing. And now suddenly the metaverse comes, which is like in one single year, a metaverse has utilities, has NFTs, has governance, has all of the years of learning that the cryptocurrencies have evolved into the utility, evolving into something else. Now comes a whole new digital world that from day one, it's absolutely everything. The learning curve is just amazing. So the NFTs, we don't even know where it's gonna go, but we're seeing a quick evolution and a quick let's say, added value that is not just a GPA, kind of like he's saying, it's just sharing value. I mean, let's see where we go, but we're very, very early still.
Yeah, I think that in this aspect, we also have an opportunity here with the NFTs, not just for us, like creating the community and belonging to something and being part of that. Really, we have also the opportunity for startups or small businesses to just finance themselves in an easy way without venture capital or whatever, just with the community. We've got the opportunity for small projects in a lot of, in the world, for example, the music world, there's the small projects that they can just finance their project with the use of the NFT. And I think that it's also for the brands an opportunity to explore a new loyalty program. So all the brands that they have like a pretty big established loyalty programs, they can switch it into a digital world with digital identities, because basically we will have our NFTs on our MetaMask, in Krypton, wherever you have it, and you will see that maybe there's someone with the Sub Summit NFT that he has been here 5 years, and we know and we respect him because he's been here 5 years, and that's something that generates value to that person, to me, to whoever knows that technology in that moment.
Are any of you leveraging NFTs already sort of as an element in your value proposition as of today when it comes to consumer interaction, when it comes to loyalty? Is that something that you already have?
Yeah, because the NFT in the sense is non-fungible, so that means there's in theoretical only one, so you can really use that for contracts. So contracts can be established via an NFT, because in the end you're representing something that you want it to be only one, so that only allows you to create new value when you only need one interaction or one duplicity, and that's it. So it's a control environment, kind of like one access to a certain thing and it burns. So it's kind of like you can start playing with all this non-fungibility that is just by how it is, right? With the standard, the ERC 721. So in our case, we're playing around and shooting proof of concept because we want to analyze that if on top of utility coin you embed an NFT, what is the new interaction that is going to happen with the token holder? Can they have private access? Can they have discounts? Can they have products and services that no other token holder can have? And then you start kind of like gamifying people. Is gamifying bad? No, we are gamified the whole day by every single product out there. It's just that now we're doing it with crypto. It's just a new part of evolution.
Okay. So, because I think there's quite likely also some old finance people like myself, I guess, in the audience. So if you were to articulate one sort of request or basically what would that be, starting with you, Oriol?
Yeah, I think that basically you guys have all the reputation, you've got all the security and all the communication power to also bring another form of finance, which is with a technological layer which is different to what we have now. And as I was saying before, I think that we need just to work together. We think that the center of this conversation is the customer. The customer is the most important people. And we think that the banks and the crypto environment, we can join forces to bring something even better than what we have now. So more efficient, more easy, better to the user-centric model that we believe. So I think that the old finance and the new finance will just merge into something that people can use into their day-to-day.
Yeah, I think what I hope is that legacy institutions, for example, here in Spain, you have the notary and the public registry. I mean, I'm hoping that they can evolve and understand that blockchain is not going to replace them. It's going to optimize them. So if I'm a notary, instead of signing one shareholders agreement or one incorporation with blockchain with one click, I can probably do 1,000. So in the end, optimization brings a new monetization value that has to be understood by these kind of institutions. Is their work is going to be simplified, and then you can handle the workforce that is needed, the complicated stuff. You don't want them to do the simple stuff because that should not be paid for. That should be automated because there's already code and there's already kind of like this technology that allows them to be more optimized. So yeah, if we can wish for anything, I would hope that these institutions understand the value and they don't establish that everything has to happen before them. Because, for example, in Spain, when you buy a house, it is thought that you need to go to the public registry to register the house. That is in no law. That is what is called cultural law, which is accepted by people that it's supposed to happen. But the law itself never requires that. So what I hope is that these kind of thoughts are washed away and new generations understand the potential of this. They start legislating in the way that blockchain or AI or machine learning just becomes a source of potential optimization for these legacy institutions to become digital institutions.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking to policymakers, then obviously I think don't be a blocker of innovation. Okay. And we all know what that means. So education, I think, is first. Learn about the technology and its power, and see where you can legislate, create policies that bring in wealth, bring in innovation. Otherwise, would be left behind. If we're talking to financial institutions or corporates, then it's also understand the technology. So a good friend of mine actually made this really good example of the steam engine. The person who invented the steam engine did something, disruptive in the industry, but he didn't earn any money. That's it, right? But then the person who got that steam engine, put it in a train, put it in a boat, and then created a railway, that changed the world, right? So I invite everybody, whether you're a legislator, a corporate, or a startup, or a builder, to learn about this technology and see how you can make the most out of it, because it's the application that's where we'll bring the value for the end consumer, for us, for me and for you, right? How can we enjoy this technology the best we can, where it's both legal and efficient? It's as simple as that, I think, but we just listen to so much noise out there.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. I encourage regulators to sit down with us. We just don't want to skip regulation. We just want to work together, because I think at the end, regulation is when it comes really the masses. So we encourage regulators to sit down and build a legal framework that really is useful for all of us. And also encourage banks and financial institutions that are the ones that really have the masses to sit down with us and basically plan how we can bring crypto and bring these benefits to a lot more people. Because at the end, what we're seeing is that in traditional financial industries and players, all their clients, or a big proportion of their clients or LPs in funds, they are now more and more interested in jumping into the space. The thing is that what we're seeing is that these institutions obviously still don't know how to jump. So I encourage all of them to come with us and set how we can work together and benefit both, because at the end, we need them, they need us.
That's a very nice closing remark, because I think that time is over. So Paul, Co, Edwin, Ori, it was really nice to have you. I think you will stick around, so whoever feels like there's something you want to discuss with these guys, they are here. Thanks a lot for sharing your perspective. It was super interesting for me, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.